Welcome everybody to this Eyewitness News Update. We're following severe weather here on Facebook. We wanted to give you guys some details of what we're expecting over the next few hours or so. Ron, you and Joe have been tracking this in our weather center since very early this morning. What's the latest update as to what we can expect this afternoon? Because there is a significant chance for severe weather here today.
Right, the most significant chance that we've had in a while, and certainly the most significant threat that we've had this year and this season. So what we have right now, though, is moving through the tri-state. We have had a few lightning strikes showing, but this is just the rain in advance of the main line that's going to be moving through later on this afternoon. You can see this rain. Got a few heavy pockets out there. Again, no threat with this particular rain event. Now, as we take a look down to the south, though, you can see the clouds kind of breaking up just a little bit. So we're going to see this rain move in and out by around midday. That's round one. And then we're noticing, too, check this out. As we kind of zoom in or zoom out a little bit, you can see a lot of breaks in the clouds down in West Tennessee. That's what we don't want to see this afternoon. When we get this break from around midday to around 4 o'clock, the more cloud cover, the better, because any type of sunshine will only enhance our enhanced risk for severe weather that we have out there later on today. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on. Future Tracker going to try to time it out for you. This Future Track has been a little slow in getting the rain out of here and then in with the next system, but it's going to be around 4 to 8 will be the window that we're going to be seeing. And these thunderstorms are going to be moving really, really fast. We're talking about 60 to 70 mile per hour, so they're going to be racing through the tri-state. Here's what it looks like at noon. Again, getting the break, just a few lingering showers out there. And as we headed through the early afternoon and mid-afternoon, we might see a few breaks in the clouds. Hopefully we don't. The latest run on our Future Track does show, though, a few breaks popping up, especially down in western Kentucky. But here we are at 4 o'clock, and this is when we're going to start to notice, off to the west, showers and thunderstorms firing up. And this is really the beginning of our severe weather threat. We're talking about tornadoes, damaging winds being the main two threats out there. We'll take a look at the percentage chances here in a second. As we look down to the south, we're seeing some more thunderstorms developing there and moving up into western Kentucky. This is at 5 o'clock. Still not seeing much in Evansville if this verifies timing-wise. I think it's going to be between 5 and 6 that we see a lot of action across much of the tri-state. Evansville, Henderson, Owensboro, even as far north as Jasper and Princeton, seeing that as well as they continue to ride to the northeast. That's going to be the general movement, southwest to northeast across the tri-state. Now we're starting to notice at 7 o'clock, still some thunderstorms out there that could be severe. But by 8 o'clock, we're noticing that line starting to push to the east and to the northeast, and we're getting some breaks out there. Now here's the rub after that. Once that happens, even though we see the severe threat over with by about 8 o'clock, we still have a very heavy wind threat. We're talking about a wind advisory. We could see gusts better than 50 miles an hour, and that lasts into the overnight hours. So that's going to be until tomorrow morning, and then we start to see just basically clouds giving way to sunshine on Friday. Here's the way it outlines the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. We have an enhanced risk for severe weather. It includes all of the counties along the Ohio River in southwest Indiana and all of western Kentucky. To the north of there, and basically in southwest Indiana, it's along and north of 64. We have a slight risk, less of a chance for a tornado or damaging winds. And here's how it stacks up. These are the severe risk levels, in case you may have forgotten, in the time it's been since last severe weather season. We're in an enhanced risk. A few tornadoes are possible, and not just a few tornadoes. We could see some EF2 to EF5 tornadoes because we've got this greater risk, a significant risk. And then we've got maybe in that slight risk zone to the north, an isolated tornado or two is certainly possible, but still some strong damaging winds out there. Now here are the severe threats, and this is the concerning part of this. We've got the tornado threat. Where you see red in that enhanced risk, that's a good chunk of the tri-state, and that is not just a 10% chance for a tornado. That is also, with the dashed lines you see there, significant tornado. EF2 to EF5 is possible. And then you've got the wind threat. Really not much of a large hail threat, but the wind threat, where you see the red here, that's a level 3 too. But in wind, it means it's a 30% chance, not just for damaging winds, but when you've got the hatch marks, we can see wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour, Jake. So we're talking about some really strong winds to go along with this, and really the most elevated tornado risk we've had in a while.
By the way, if you're watching right now, we can see your comments. If you have any questions for Ron specifically, go ahead and ask them. Ron, we have a lot of people letting us know they're watching from Kentucky, and that seems to be the area right now, the southern part, where the tornado threat at least seems to be greater with this right now.
Right. All of western Kentucky is in this enhanced risk, and not just, your regular enhanced risk. Again, we've got these significant threat for a possible tornado that could be greater than your average tornado. We're talking about EF2 to EF5 on the Fujita scale. It's an enhanced Fujita scale now. But we're talking about some really strong tornadoes possible I mean, it's going to happen. We've got a 10% chance of that. And then, of course, the damaging winds out there as well. I mean, 70-mile-per-hour winds. These storms are really going to be moving pretty quickly. I guess the one good thing is it's going to be in and out of here pretty fast. This is not going to be a long-term event where you get pounded by more storms and more storms and more storms.
Well, with this being around the sunset hours, will kind of the sun going down maybe help some of the energy be taken out of these storms, or they already have enough energy no matter what?
Yeah, it'll help some for us, but really by that time, I mean, yeah, we're going to be seeing those storms out of the area, so it's not a threat for us. It's still got to continue to be a threat, though, to the east. So they could still see it, like in Louisville, you know, well into the evening. We're talking about 9, 10 o'clock at night, long after the sun goes down. Yeah, these are pretty potent storms, even without the sun. But the sun does help. And that's why we don't want to see the sunshine between 12 and 4, because the more breaks in the clouds, the more unstable the atmosphere is going to get, and it could enhance this already enhanced risk for severe weather.
We have a lot of people, by the way, watching in Kentucky, people letting us know they're watching from various parts of Davis County, but also somebody from Spencer County. That's an important part, too, even though as you do go further north, when you look at our graphics so far, it's a lesser event. A lot of these southern Indiana counties are still in this enhanced zone, and they have these hatch marks, like in Spencer County, where somebody's just told us they're watching from.
Right, and the enhanced risk, and keep in mind, I mean, whether you're close to the border or not, just be prepared for a severe weather threat. Even if you're in a slight risk zone, you could still see a severe storm, and it still could be a significant severe storm. But you're right, all of Spencer County is in this enhanced risk. Now, Posey County, it's the southern half that's in the enhanced risk, but really, if you're anywhere along the Ohio River in southwest Indiana, you've got that chance for an enhanced risk for storms.
Got a couple people, too, asking about Nashville. We know that's an area south of us. So the good news is, if there's anything to be picked out of this so far, is that south of us is really where the intensity of this is probably the bullseye, if you will, is. We're not really in the bullseye, even though we have a great chance of severe weather when you look at the scale.
Right, exactly. The worst, it's like the setup similar to last week, although our risk is a lot greater than what we had last week. But what they had down in Nashville is about the same. We're talking about a high risk. We will go sometimes years without getting a high risk anywhere in the country. But Nashville and really points down to the south in northern Alabama and northern Mississippi. And that's pretty much where we had the trouble last year, or last week. It was down to the south. Dixie Alley is what they call it. It's like a secondary primary, I guess, tornado alley. I mean, it's about as big a deal as the main tornado alley out there in Texas and Oklahoma. That's where the higher risk is going to be, and that's where they could be seeing not just significant tornadoes, but maybe some long track tornadoes that could be on the ground for a while.
So it's not just you guys here, meteorologists across the country in the south are keeping track of this. Off the top of your head, can you remember the last time we had maybe some maps that looked like this with the enhanced risk and the hatch marks? I mean, it's been since at least last year, right?
Right, it was. Now, we did have, of course, some significant weather with the tornadoes that hit in Henderson and also Newburgh. You remember we had 2 separate tornadoes, and that was last year. But that was really the only significant event we had. And it didn't look as bad going into that event as this, but it looked pretty close. That would be the one, and that was in early March, I believe, of last year.